We are back for your very first market update at the Lake of the Ozarks. As mentioned on our previous episode with Ramsey Stewart, where we talked about what we were going to be doing with this new playlist. And one of the things we're going to be doing is giving you an update, statistics of what's been happening the month prior. I could not think of a better guest partner in crime to do this with than none other than Jesse Falstich with Lakefront Living, who's already been doing this. And so I thought, Jesse, I need somebody who's arguably better looking. I need someone who has more knowledge, and I need someone who can be my complement, the yin to my yang, because as we were discussing off camera, I have no problem stirring pots. Jesse, on the other hand, will not be stirring the pot. So this will be fun conversations, but educational, because we want this channel, we want this series to help you learn and understand whether or not you are ready to buy, you're ready to sell, you're ready to move, you're ready to relocate, you're ready to do whatever it is that relates to real estate, and help you determine who you should use as your real estate agent. So without further ado, Jesse, let's start this first episode with an introduction of who the hell you are, how long you've been down here in this business, a little bit about yourself, and then let's get into the data.
I'm Jesse Falstich. My family moved here in 1982 from the St. Louis area. My parents honeymooned here, loved the area, wanted to move here. They had myself, I think I was 2 when I moved here, and my sister, who would have been 5. Came down here. My father started a heating and cooling company all on his own in 83. I grew up here. My wife moved here in 1984 with her family. They were from Rolla area. There's Otto making an appearance back there, a Bernedoodle.
Of course you did. The camera's on. I'm going to pop in here.
Yeah. So just quick, easy backstory. Me and my wife went from kindergarten to high school all together. Never started dating till we were 31. It seems like when you're local here, all the kids want to leave the area through high school. Everybody's tired of the lake. And the both of us, we went our own separate ways. And then, you realize how good the lake area is. It's a really great place for families. We have low crime here. It's just, you have, the busy season in the summertime, and then you have a nice quiet season. It's really become a great place to live full time. We've enjoyed it. We have 3 kids of our own. And like I said, started dating when we were 31, got married when we were 34. We're coming up on our 10-year anniversary now. We've got 3 kids that are in the local school systems. Love it here. We bought the franchise for the state of Missouri for Lakefront Living Realty in 2017. So that's a nationwide franchise where we specialize in lakefront, lakeview, lake access properties. Me and my wife are both lake lovers. This really fit what we wanted to do with our careers. So yeah, here we are. Now we have a team here at Lake of the Ozarks. We both sell personally here. We have other agents here at this lake. We've also got a few agents down to cover Table Rock area, Table Rock, Lake Taneycomo, and Bull Shoals.
Awesome. And so now for my audience, you can understand why I chose Jesse and why I will choose, I'm fairly agnostic as it relates to real estate. And so I think a good mix is important, but Jesse and Annie are both going to be regulars on our show. You mentioned people get tired of the lake. And I think most of the people watching this are probably Lake of the Ozarks lovers, obviously, right? There's no other reason why you'd probably be subscribed to this other than, I don't know any other reason why. Maybe I entertain you or it's my looks. I don't know. But tired of the lake. Who possibly? So I'm speaking as a consumer, as an outsider, as somebody who's watching this. How could you possibly get tired of the lake?
That's a very easy answer. Rebellious teenagers. When you are fresh out of high school and you know everything about the world, the grass is always greener, right? So I think it's a very good thing, for anybody just to kind of spread their wings, go out in different areas and see what the rest of the world has to offer before you get that lens of perspective and go, wow, Lake of the Ozarks is a really nice place to live year round.
Yeah, yeah, and obviously we're going to talk about all kinds of things. We already do, but we're going to talk about lots of things like the lifestyle at the Lake of the Ozarks, which is the name of this channel. And you already know, but we're going to go deeper on this because so many people's perception, an outsider's perception of the Lake of the Ozarks is party. That's what it is. It's party, it's money, debauchery, too many big boats, those kinds of conversations constantly happening. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. Does that exist? Yes. But is it a very small piece of the actual Lake of the Ozarks? Also, yes. And from your take as someone who's been here effectively your entire life, what do you say to someone who sticks their nose up at the Lake of the Ozarks for those reasons, or for reasons to say, I would prefer a Table Rock, Bull Shoals, or a Core Lake where you don't have as much activity going on, or building even on the lake?
Yeah, sure. So just like people like different grocery stores is kind of, their personal favorite. Lake of the Ozarks and Table Rock Lake are going to be very different, and Bull Shoals. Those lakes, you cannot have your own lakefront home. There's a green line where you cannot do anything between your property and the shoreline as far as trimming trees to better your view, anything like that. Very few homes in Table Rock have their own personal docks, so those ones are very much at a premium. Lake of the Ozarks, that's what people love about the lake. You come here, you can have your boat right out your back door, which we've got one right out there. You can go jump on your boat, your jet ski, go out skiing, tubing. We've rented boats on Table Rock. You go out there and there's all of, two, three, four places to go and catch a burger for lunch. Something about that is just really cool. And we have so much of that around Lake of the Ozarks here, where Annie and mine's favorite activities is to go out and just go catch an appetizer at this place or go catch an appetizer in this place. During the weekday is fantastic. Weekends can get a little crazy here, especially in July and August, and you need a bigger boat for that. During the week, the Lake of the Ozarks is a great place to be and enjoy. You get out, you go cove out, just check out for just a little bit. Everybody needs that little time of peace and serenity.
It's almost like I was going to say, and then you get to retire to the place that a lot of people go to retire, and that leads us to two potential conversations as well as I think that, again, the lake not only labeled as I described earlier, but also described probably as a retirement place, not as a place to come and move your family and raise kids. And again, that's a misconception, as you've proven, and as you're living, and as I'm going to live. It also, you brought up, nature, parks, hiking, all of the things there are to do, and I'm just sitting here writing down a list of these future topics. But I wanted to go back to something that you mentioned, which was, how nice the lake is during the summer on the weekdays. And so again, people look at the lake and they associate it with just, you can't get out on it, right? Because there's so many big boats and just so many people and all this stuff. But when you really break down the numbers, and I just roughly did it, there's roughly 12 weekends in a summer. I'm going to round up and say 15. That's 30 days of a 365-day year. And I know some of you are thinking, well, you can't boat in the winter. Well, actually, some days you can boat in the winter, but okay, fair, you can't. But pretty much boating season, I think you would agree, can run very realistically from April all the way into November, many years. And because typically September is just as hot as August. And oftentimes October stays warm enough to continue to get out in your boat. I know people doing it all the time. I know people going out for cruises to look at the leaves changing, right? And so it's for the person that says, I'll never move there because of the craziness, it's 30 days out of 365. It's like, that's crazy.
It's amazing when the kids go back to school, even in August here, how the weekends and everything really calm down and die down once you get football, sports are going back on. Um, it's a different lake and it's very enjoyable. You go out and you feel like you have the entire lake to yourself, even on a weekend. That's where it's very important to deal with a local real estate realtor that's a specialist in lakefront that can tell you kind of what your water depths are going to be, because in that January to May area, they're going to drop the lake so they can make room for spring rains and for people to work on their seawalls. And so if you plan on being able to boat year round, you need to plan accordingly.
The best word I can think of is diversity. The diversity at the lake in terms of things to do and things to do for the ranges of age ranges and people is incredible. It's not Party Cove. That's just a very small, minuscule piece of this lake. I mean, and Jesse and I, we relate because we have similar age kids, and so we know this. Like, there's so many different places to go. I love that you brought up the water levels. That's definitely a good conversation to have. So the initial episode that launched this kind of series, Ramsey and I shot on the boat and just taking a boat ride on a Monday night. And obviously it was very calm. There was a bunch of fishermen out because there's tournaments on Mondays in the summer. And we talked a little bit about the water level thing. And I want to get your opinion on this before we get into the data, which is, people make such a big deal about not buying a home in a cove when the water level is effectively mud, right? And it doesn't make any sense to me that that's such a big deal when they don't lower the water level till around Christmas time, and they raise it back up basically in April-ish, right? It probably doesn't hit full pool till sometime in early May, but that's really only 4 months out of the year. And like, it blows me away. And they did obviously talked a lot about this on Lakefront Empire, but like how big of a deal it is. Why is that when it's really only a quarter of the year?
I think it's just a misconception of what people think they will actually be using the lake. We see the people that raise that as a red flag. My wife Annie was dealing with a couple, and they said, in the last 5 years, you guys have been here all of 2 weekends from January to the end of April. So that water level isn't that big of a deal for you. So that really opens up your opportunity to a lot more homes there. So we have a very interesting topography here. Everybody, asks for, well, we want a flat lot, no stairs. We want a main channel view and cove location for our boat dock. Yeah, they made 3 of those lots when they built the lake. It's very difficult to get deep. And I'm not going to say that they don't exist. It's very difficult to get deep water with a flat lot. So if you think of the land, essentially the land underneath the lake is doing the same thing that the land that your house is on. So when you're on a hillside like this, if you could imagine the water level, the lake is doing that same thing down below it. So when you get into those houses with the steeper driveways, you typically get the deeper water with that. The flatter your lay of your land is, the shallower your water is going to be. So it's kind of a give and take on that.
That's a great point. So the next time a buyer comes in and says, I want a flat lot with deep water and a view, you're going to get laughed at because, as Jesse just explained, that doesn't exist. So thank you for doing that. I've never actually heard that explained that way. So that was good.
We don't make it a habit to laugh at our clients. We
Remember, I'm the pot stirrer here, not you. And I would never laugh at a client either. But you get the point. I'm trying to get a point across. So let's dig into the data. So this has been fun. This is obviously, this conversation is going to lead to so many other ones, which is exciting. But let's dig into the data. Let's talk about May's data, which, I'm not a licensed real estate agent, so I'm not the authority to do that. So I want you to share with us, and I'll just play a peanut gallery and ask you some questions.
We've been seeing some very interesting trends this year, especially between lakefront homes and lakefront condos. So as I said before in our introduction, our focus is really lakefront, lakeview, lake access homes and condos. So, for the year as a whole, we've been seeing a rise in inventory for sure. Home sales have really been sticking in there and keeping up with the sales from last year, where we've seen definitely a dip in condo sales, rise in inventory and a dip in condo sales. So it's been an interesting way that this is playing out.
So let's break it down. Let's dig into the numbers and what do they mean to somebody who's watching this? So will you explain to the audience what we're looking at here?
it's a little difficult the way that they report their numbers. Like on these new listings, those are, I have a difficulty whether you want to do new listings per month or homes for sale per month.
Okay.
So like in the month of May for homes, you had 293 homes on the market, whereas they show 116 new listings. So for somebody that's in the market, I don't know that you're more concerned about how many new listings are there for the month or how many homes are actually for sale for the month. Does that make sense to you?
Yep.
So sold listings is big here. The average sale price, I mean, obviously is huge here. So some of these numbers are our inventory. I mean, even for the month compared to last year, being up almost 30%. And then
Wow.
our sold listings, I mean, we're only down 4 lake homes for the year, even in this interest rate environment where we thought interest rates were going to be dipping. So this
Yeah.
has been a very impressive number so far on the year for single family lakefront homes. When you compare that to condos, look at this inventory that's gone up so far this year, up 36.31%, while sold listings are down 23.44%. So it's been a little bit of a challenging year for condo homeowners. When you know, you've got inventory coming up and you've got sales going down, those are some strong headwinds. And what condo owners are seeing, and Jeff, you're a condo owner yourself,
Yep.
what's happened to your assessments?
Yeah.
Assessments have been tracking up.
Yep.
Uh, on the association, nothing against them, but their condo insurance cost has gone up dramatically. So somebody has to pay for that somewhere.
Mhm.
So the numbers have just changed from the time that a lot of condo buyers bought their condo, and now you're seeing people ready to get out of that condo. So what I find very interesting that kind of goes against the grain on that is your average sale price on a condo. Your average sale price on a condo for May of 2024 was almost $400,000 compared to May of 23 was just over $353,000. I mean, that's very interesting. Year to date, we're up almost 10% on that average sale price for a condo.
Crazy.
Now we are seeing, if you go to your average days on market for a condo,
Less.
2023, we were at 54 days. So that's the time
Yeah.
that it goes on the market until it's marked contingent, which means they have an offer in place on the property. So that time's coming down for the ones that do go under contract. You still have some out there that are not selling or being on the market for longer.
Yeah. So to unpack all of this, and as we kind of look through it from, from homes to condos or single families, I should say,
Mhm.
you mentioned, for example, the fact that condo assessments are going up, which is the cause of the increased listings. But that doesn't necessarily, does that also then, is that the meaning behind the 23% less sold because less people are wanting to buy because of those increased assessments, or is there another reason behind that potentially?
I think that there's a squeeze that you're seeing with the ongoing inflation battle that the Fed has in the interest rates being sustained higher for longer than what was originally expected. So condo, sale prices you can obviously see are at about half or just over half of what a single family home costs. So people are seeing a lot more of their everyday costs rising, and they're having to change accordingly. Whereas somebody in a home, maybe they're a different salary bracket or they're less affected and they're able to hang on to that home. Although you see the new listings year to date on homes compared to condos, you're not that far off. I mean, we're having the same amount of homes to condos come on the market, and
Yeah.
you know, the single family homes, they're selling. They're selling for a higher price, that's for sure. We're still trending up that way.
Yeah.
But our sales, so for year to date, so far year to date, we've got about 12.5% more home sales than what we have for condo sales. And those home sales are at a much higher ticket price. So
Yeah.
I think you're seeing some other political things play out between the Fed and home buyers. I think everybody's going to be very relieved whenever interest rates do come down, but that seems to be a further out timeline than what was talked about in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
And you probably
So,
have a little bit more insights with that with your background.
yeah, well, I mean, nobody has that crystal ball. If we did, we'd use it.
I think everybody needs to quit saying that they maybe have a crystal ball and see where
Yeah.
this thing's going.
Right.
But
Well, the traditional crystal ball experts have been wrong. So now everybody's very confused with what might happen. A couple of questions about the data that we were showing. What do you think is the reason behind why listings are up so much? Is it a product of, hey, I can get so much more for my real estate, so I'm going to go ahead and sell? And is that same person also going to buy something else? Because they're just trading dollars there. I guess that's my first question.
yeah, we have been seeing some people trade homes here at the lake, which hasn't happened over the past few years. So people that have the means, they've gotten comfortable with the market. We still see a lot of cash come into the lake. We're not seeing the multiple offers that we used to in the previous years. Now, when we get what we call cream puff houses, the houses that need absolutely nothing or in a very specific price bracket, um, those can still get multiple offers on them. We're seeing, the lower end stuff, going quick. The middle stuff, that bracket has been coming down a little bit. It still pops really quick, but anything that is really done is moving quickly. We're also seeing some more investors that I'm working with, more investors saying, Jesse, find me something that I can purchase and fix up. So that market is starting to come back. That was a very tough one before. So much of the housing price was already so high and inflated and selling. And now we're starting to see a little bit more negotiations happen, the inspections, getting more off that purchase price, which is a very great thing. And I've got a graph for you on the months of supply, if you pull that one up. So everybody, if you don't know, a balanced market is when we have about 6 months of supply of homes for how many homes are selling compared to what's on the market. So this
That goes
graph
back to
is
2019.
right. So just off this graph, we're seeing just shy of 6 months. Now, back in 2019, in late 2019, we had over 8 months. That was a little bit more of a buyer's market. You were able to negotiate a little bit. Then COVID happened, and the Fed kept rates down. They were trying to spur on economic while having the country shut down. And now we're just starting to see, from the early days of 2022, when interest rates went up, how long it's taken for this to have the desired effect. And I think the Fed's been surprised of that. But this is getting more to a healthy market. A swing in either way. When you have 2 months of supply and you're getting multiple offers on a property in the first weekend, it's just not sustainable. It's not a healthy, it's not a healthy market. It's like a person that just lives off sugar all day. Yeah, they have energy, but it's going to catch up to you.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
So
So now,
a healthy market is 6 months.
yeah, a balanced market. I feel like that you get a little bit more balance between your buyers and sellers. You have negotiations that are happening again instead of it being a strong arm in one position or the other.
So last question, so anybody that is kind of on the fence or has been thinking about it, there's a lot of things to take into account. There's a lot of data that we just showed them. And when you're looking at it from the perspective of selling, obviously it looks very attractive. I mentioned on the previous episode that, I bought my condo in 2012 for 135,000, actually like 132. Yeah, 3 bed. And today that's every bit of 300,000. And in its peak, a year or two ago, it was probably 350, easy, with a couple boat slips. And so, but that, with that said, I think there's a lot of consumers that are thinking to themselves, I'm now priced out of the lake. The lake is beyond me. And what would you say to those people that think that the lake is now passed them by? They're priced out.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that you need to talk to somebody that knows the market and knows the various segments of the market. And I go through on if anybody wants to be on our email list, where I email some of these graphs out in the different market segments, reach out to me or Jeff. My email address is Jesse, Jesse at lakefrontliving.com. And we'll send you those monthly market updates just so you can see, how many 2-bedroom condos are on the market, how many 3-bedroom, how many 4+ bedroom condos are on the market. And then also how many, for price brackets of single family home, how many of those are active on the market right now. And that's all pertains to lakefront. It's out there. You may need to have some patience. We still have some segments of the market with very low inventory. That has been coming up. We'll see our most active times of the real estate year here, like the Ozarks, is in the spring and in the fall. So outside of those seasons, if you're not finding what you want, just stay in the game for a little bit. It'll come around to you. Patience will win out. Most importantly, talk to a lender first. Just get familiar with your finances, what those payments will look like, what you're comfortable with spending, and then get in the game. There's plenty of lake here for everybody to enjoy their dream. And we're happy to help accommodate with that.
Yeah, I love that. And to that point too, as it relates to lending, is I would recommend you talk to a lender who knows the lake. It's a completely different beast. And when you're talking about docks, and it's something you don't technically own, and when you're talking about dealing with the various restrictions that Ameren put on the lake that now affect properties, a lender who knows the lake, I would argue, is as critical as any market, because there are nuances here that you're not used to, and your lender from St. Louis or Kansas City that's never done business here, you're going to probably find yourself in a heap of trouble come closing day or close to it. So that's my piece of advice, just from my experience in the lending world, knowing that you got to understand the lake. Your underwriters have to understand the lake. Your appraisers have to understand that all the things, right, are critically important.
Yeah,
Jesse.
100%. Nobody could talk to it more so than you. Full disclosure for me, I get no kickbacks from any lenders. The lenders that I recommend them because I know they can close deals with as little drama as possible.
That's important.
Yes, I've always recommend using a local lender because nobody needs really high emotions on the 11th hour.
Yeah, it's already a stressful enough process as it is.
Yeah.
Jesse, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, you've already mentioned your email. Is there any other ways best ways to connect with you or maybe connect with you on social?
Yeah, 100%. So my cell phone number is 573-260-0868. Feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text. Social media, Facebook, Lakefront Living, Missouri. And then also on Instagram, our account is lakefront_living_MO. So
Awesome.
catch up with us. We try to put valuable content up. We don't want to waste your time with, we know how much people get flooded with nonsense nowadays. So we want to bring stuff to your value. I'm more of a data person myself. I like that stuff. My wife is more of the very, the ins and the outs of our daily life and lake life. So yeah, we try to put a mix up there on there for everybody.
It's fun to watch as someone who has been watching. So Jesse, thank you so much. This is fun. I look forward to doing this every month. And obviously I've already started to create a list of some other topics that we need to talk about. So I'm looking forward to doing this, man. This has been fun. We talked a hell of a lot longer than we anticipated, which is a testament to the conversation and honestly the subject matter. And so hopefully you as the audience, you enjoyed this as much as we did talking about it. And if you have topics that you want us to talk about, please always comment on the video. Let us know what you think, and don't keep us a secret. You know, anybody interested in the Lake of the Ozarks, just in general, if they want entertainment, if they want education, if they want to know what's going on, this is your place. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you share, and thank you for watching. Jesse, until next time, my friend, it's been a pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Jeff. We're just here to make dreams come true, one lake house at a time.